people are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
Do not come. Do not come.
Hello.
Hello.
How is everybody? Lila is on vacation, and as somebody pointed out in the chat, what a job she's got. Living the life on a plane right now.
Hey, don't give Lila a hard time right out of the gate. I don't appreciate that.
With her not here, I'm dedicating the show to Pat is right, and Lila is incorrect.
Not going to happen.
Anyway, guest hosting, as you can see, is Zeynab Day, amazing journalist, investigative journalist / writer / activist / former Brand New Congress. And were you part of Brand New Congress as well? Or just, okay, it was because I know they had both groups that merged at one point.
Yeah, and then they split, and after the split, I stayed with BNC.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. Right on. So great to have you here. Thank you.
Good. I'm so excited to be here. It's amazing shoes to fill, trying to fill in for Lila, but I promise, Lila, I will do the best job I possibly can. And I miss you already.
Same. And you can always put Zeynab's right in the chat. I won't be offended by that at all.
I'll be right most of the time. Just what happens. No, I'm
absolutely correct. So how's everything going with you? I don't think either of us attended the No Kings rallies, which I thought about since it's right down the street, but I don't have the emotional capital to waste on all the libs and the lib fest personally.
Yeah, I have, and we'll get into it. I have very mixed feelings about the rally, but I will say I was glad to see a few hundred people out in my tiny town in the sticks in Appalachia. Deep in Appalachia. So that was cool to see. I saw cars slowing down, like honking, being excited to see the rally. So that was a interesting sight for my area. Was I guess glad to see that.
We'll save our comments on it till we actually cover it. But yeah, in general,
we got a lot to say.
I think it's a mixed bag for me too. Like it's an opportunity. And it's something, what we do with it, and it was sponsored by some Zionists. So it was controversial if you mentioned Palestine. We'll get into some of that too. But should we start our show with the cheers as we always do?
Heck yeah.
All right. This was a guy protesting ICE, but he ran into Bovino, the head of ICE. So here's his interaction with him. Cheers.
Go. What happened is that the protesters are out on this very street behind a security fence, and Greg Bovino, the chief enforcement officer of Border Patrol, gathered 40 federal agents around him, opened the gate, and sought to clear the street of peaceful protesters.
All pedestrians will move outside the road now, or you will be arrested for impeding. Let's move them out!
Move it right now! Move it right now!
Move outside the road! Outside the road!
You proud? You don't own that.
Outside the road!
You don't own that.
Outside the road, sir.
Do not touch nobody!
Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you!
I was backing away, and after backing away and realizing that I might have been the only one left in the street, cleared the street and ran off the street and down this road, and eventually came to a fence where I couldn't go anywhere, and I was detained by the federal authorities. I was not charged. I was held for 8 hours.
It seems that they were targeting you because you were talking, saying stuff to them, right? Is that my understanding?
Yes, I was not just the First Amendment encompasses not just the right to free speech, but the right to free expression. And I turned my body away from the federal agents and pretended but didn't actually lower my pants while bending forward with my backside to the agents. I was also calling out Greg Bovino by name and using derogatory and guttural and vulgar words about him and his agency. So I was specifically making statements which Mr. Bovino may have found offensive, but I was not impeding, obstructing, or committing any crime whatsoever.
Right.
Hey, motherfucker, I'm talking to you. Do you need some ID? Yeah, do you need some ID? Here you go. Here's your ID, man. Take the shot. Go ahead, fucker. Come on, take the shot. What, are you a little afraid? Come on. Hey, Bovino fucker. Bovino fucker, here, come over, talk to me. Here, bring some of your troops. Come on over.
You won't find me, Bovino.
Bovino.
You gotta love it.
I loved that so much. Dude's
Yeah,
my
I was
hero.
thinking of Tom Homan, the head of ICE. Bovino's not the head of ICE, but yeah, same.
And I will say that John Farina, who caught that, is doing yeoman's work, running with that camera with some amazing camera work. He's been on the ground. He's captured so much. He's on the ground right now in Chicago, but he's covered, I think, 223, something along those lines of the anti-genocide protests. But yeah, so shout out to him. But that guy was hilarious, and apparently they had to let him go. But I guess cursing at ICE and pretending like you're mooning them is enough for them to chase you down these days.
Yeah, I think that should be the staple. We should all grow and make that a movement, like showing you our asses. But I mean, think about it: 8 hours of detainment without charge for what? Like, not even under the pretense of breaking any law, you know. And
No.
journalists, they're going after journalists. They tried to, even in LA, they tried to they tried to fight with the courts to make it okay in LA to target journalists, like, because there's a what do you call it? Detain, not Jesus Christ, a restraining order against not a restraining order, but geez, I can't think of the phrase. But basically, the courts ruled that the cops have to stop targeting ICE. They made some ground rules for the cops.
Mm-hmm.
And
They limited their power. Yeah.
yeah, and then they're trying to fight, you know, for the No Kings rally. Even they're trying to make it okay to go after the protesters there. So it's a bipartisan project here.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, like the guy that we saw on the bicycle in Chicago who just came up and yelled F you. He dropped his phone, like he started to bike away, dropped his phone, and then biked away, and they were running after him. It was just as comical. These
Yeah,
clowns,
you could have played
these
that
cosplaying
same
clowns.
You could have played that same music that were probably the Curb Your Enthusiasm music or the Benny Hill music of, you know, running around like idiots. I mean, you got all this police force and they can't catch a guy on a bike who drops his phone 2 feet in front of him. Like,
Right. Right.
What are we doing here?
That's because they're cosplaying losers, Pat. They're guys that sit at home, you know, playing Metal Gear Solid, trolling on 4chan. Now think that they're God's gift to America, and we're gonna see. And you know, ICE is one of the most laxed when it comes to training people and evaluating who, and a bunch of white supremacists have been infiltrating it for years. So these people are clowns. They're losers. And
you know, they're making so much more than teachers, which really fucking ires me. Like, we have a teacher shortage, we have a nurse shortage. All these fields are getting underfunded. Meanwhile, our government is focused entirely on building up this ICE force that nobody fucking wants. I mean, it's absurd. Yeah, the mayor.
LA City Mayor. Yeah. Those fuckers. Lila is right, and she's not even here.
God damn it. She's right from afar. Isn't that plane taking off? I hope you have an air traffic controller, Lila. I really, really do. I'm wishing fingers crossed for you. All right. Before we get into it, let's have one moment of joy with the wheel. Let's see what the gods want us to do.
Nice fancy new wheel, Pat. I like it.
Yeah. Well, we can all do that. That's an easy one. Let's try again. But I will drink to Lila having an aircraft control. All right, lefty laws. Let's keep it political first.
I love watching your TikTok, which is next level. Clearly, that's expressed by my 13-year-old son.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Mom's sick, man. She's she's a Muslim woman. She wears a hijab. I don't look very Muslim, like just off look, so nobody ever bothers me about it, you know? She wears a hijab. She looks Muslim all the time. One time she told me that she was driving around and a guy pulled up next to her in traffic and saw that she was wearing the hijab, and he like flipped her off, and then he like followed her in his car for a while. And I was like terrified when she told me this. I didn't want to ask her this question, but I asked. I was like, Mom, have you ever like thought about taking off your hijab? And she was like, Malik, I would rather die a martyr than let those people change me. I was like, all right, Tupac, fucking relax. Jesus. Chill out. Don't talk like that. Don't wish a motherfucker would. That's exactly the opposite of what I wanted. She's nuts. Crazy talk. But I was proud of her. Like, I don't want her to change anything about herself, but I want her to be safe. So it's like, what do we do here? You know, like something's got to change. Society is not going to change. So it's like, we got to figure something out. What I'm thinking of doing is coming out with a line of hate crime proof hijabs that my mom can wear. Completely hate crime proof, okay? First one, I'm thinking standard, just Confederate flag hijab. Because listen, that's gonna short circuit. Nobody's gonna know what to do when they see that. Next time some guy pulls up next to my mom in traffic, he's gonna be like, oh.
As a former hijab wearer, maybe that would have worked.
Right. All right. What are we jumping into to start us off here?
Oh, I guess Peter Thiel being a complete and total creep. So we do have some updates on the Broligarchy. If you guys remember our Broligarchy series, we put in some stuff that's happening. That's coming up right now. That's crazy. And then Pat dug up some stuff on where AI is going. So that is, I think that's what we had on the slate next.
I think it's really interesting that I watched South Park this week, and most of the population doesn't know who Peter Thiel is, right? Really, like name recognition wise, he's not. Everyone knows Elon Musk and some of these other billionaires, but Peter Thiel is one of the most evil of them all. And South Park largely focused their show on Peter Thiel, like by name, without even explaining his background very well, which I thought was really interesting. And that's good. We got to make these people a household name because they're behind the bipartisan destruction of our economy, which is AI and surveillance tech and all that shit. Is Peter Thiel. Remember his name?
Oh, he's co-founder of Palantir.
Right.
I think more people are aware of what Palantir is even than what Thiel is, but yeah. Oh, and JD Vance's best friend put millions into JD Vance's campaign.
Yeah, I mean, they're buying our government left and right here. I mean, next to Bitcoin was one of the major funders the last election, pharmaceuticals, and the AI tech bros. Those are the big three that bought our elections this last cycle.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess we'll start with talking about an article that came out in the Washington Post. Inside billionaire Peter Thiel's private lectures, warning of the Antichrist and U.S. destruction. The Washington Post revealed leaked audio from 4 off-the-record lectures the tech investor delivered in San Francisco over the past month that fused beliefs about religion and technology. So what he's been doing is going around and basically preaching like a theological, like having a theological seminar couched in it being about tech. And then he goes on to like do this religious like philosophy of how if we regulate AI, Pat, if we regulate AI, then somehow the regulation of AI, that's what the Antichrist is. The
Yeah, that's the
Antichrist is
sin.
the regulation of AI.
It's such gaslighting and like misinformation. I don't even know how he shows up and the people don't boo him out of the place with what he's been saying at these events. And it just goes to our culture of like worshiping guys just because they have money. You know, it's ridiculous. This guy doesn't deserve a platform. He definitely doesn't deserve to be able to walk into any politician's office and get what he wants, which is what's happening right now.
No. And here's what he had to say. It's so crazy. He said, according to this article, tech billionaire Peter Thiel recently warned that Swedish activist Greta Thunberg and critics of technology or AI are legionnaires of the Antichrist. In private lectures on Christianity that connected government oversight of Silicon Valley to an apocalyptic future, according to your recordings reviewed by WAPO. In the roughly 2-hour lectures, which began last month and culminated Monday at the Commonwealth Club in San Francisco, Thiel laid out his religious views to a sold-out audience, told to keep the content off the record, according to an event listing. He argued those who propose limits on tech development not only hinder business, but also threaten to usher in the destruction of the U.S. in an era of global totalitarian rule, according to recordings. So he's basically saying if we limit AI in any kind of way, that's what brings the goal. That's what brings the totalitarian rule, not Oracle that just recently bought out TikTok that's doing the heavy censorship, not ironically the buying out of the Washington Post, not all this surveillance equipment that ICE is now using, which I think we have maybe a little bit in here about that as well. Not all of these things that are actually leading to authoritarian rule, but the regulation of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's really insane that we're letting the same AI that's targeting civilians by design in Palestine is now going to be in charge of denying our Medicare claims and whatnot. Like we're just letting this all happen. This is all part of the plan. They've got power. And it goes hand in hand with the censorship, because when you have an electorate that knows what's going on, you better censor the shit out of them or they're going to come for you. And people are going to come for Peter Thiel. I mean, it's happening. But that's me, just legionnaire of the Antichrist.
Right.
Which I'm now added to my captioner, because that's amazing. I'm proud.
Pat, legionnaire of the Antichrist. You just need to walk around with a t-shirt that says that.
Somebody make it, I will buy it. Let's go.
We did there was a tweet from Stephen Hansen and Stephen Hassan, and Stephen Hassan kind of works, he's like an expert on cults, right? And he wrote here, Peter Thiel is giving a secret, unrecorded, expensive lectures on the Antichrist. He's using an old influence tactic to do it, scarcity. In addition, old scarcity, fear-mongering. In addition, he was quoted as saying, if you really want to terrify people, you have to do it through religion. Now he's recruiting libertarians and Silicon Valley elites into a cult called Acts 17, acknowledging Christ within technology and society. Oh boy. It's led by Michelle Stevens, husband Trey founder AI weapons company Anduril. I didn't know that. So Trey, I guess this guy, Trey Stevens, founded this with the Palmer Lucky guy who we're about to talk about, backed by people like the former CEO of Intel, Patrick Gesslinger, and the chief exec of Y Combinator, Jerry Tan. Thiel is flipping the script, blaming people who want AI regulation and climate change scientists and activists as the Antichrist, while preaching a future of AI gods that rule over us and people's psyches are downloaded into android bodies to live forever. It's weird, it's twisted, but it's happening. There's a billionaire conspiracy rooted in religion, and it's being used to recruit others into an apocalyptic vision.
Yeah, but meanwhile, what are we getting out of this? We're getting civilians killed. We're getting our Medicare screened, denied, and we get these dumb memes. That's it. This AI Bible is going to blow so fucking hard.
Yep.
And it's valued at something like 7 times the .com bubble. So like it's going to bring our economy down with it. Like, cause we're going to bail them out. I mean, they've bought all of our people in power. They're going to give them a bailout.
Yeah. And something to note is that every single bit of this, the imperial boomerang, where it's thrown overseas through U.S. imperialism, and then it's brought back here. And I know you guys have covered, we talked about it in the Tech Bro series, and you and Lila have done great coverage on it. But what is happening in Gaza and the West Bank is a testing ground for what they're bringing back here. Everything from Lavender and Daddy's Home were AI tech that they were using to target people in Gaza, to Oracle using face recognition software that was then sold to ICE now to utilize, that was used in the West Bank, to scrubbing our data was another thing that this company Oracle did, scrubbing data that they're now saying that they're going to use to root out Antifa and Reddit radical leftist, labeling us all as terrorists because we're against fascism. It's the imperial boomerang. They practice it over there and they bring it back here. So all of this is also tied to Gaza. The Palmer Luckey guy, who we'll talk about in just a little bit, was also Palmer Luckey is also a dude who tested his drones and stuff over in Gaza, and now has made a ton of money. But did you want to show that crazy clip of Peter Thiel hat where he's like talking about this and everyone can hear how creepy he is? If you guys, I mean, it's Halloween. It's close to Halloween. We might as well.
And he looks so like, I don't know, bloodshot. He looks like he sleeps in a coffin.
Him and Stephen Miller are in the same brood.
They probably do. Let's stop.
They're all like
in the facade,
hanging upside down. Like,
Right.
What was that movie with?
I know what you're thinking of. On the beach in Santa Cruz. Outsiders,
yeah.
maybe? Yes. No, not Outsiders. Anyway, here's AI. Here's creepy Peter Thiel in his own words.
This is my very specific question for you, right? Is that you're an investor in AI. You're deeply invested in Palantir, in military technology, in technologies of surveillance, in technologies of warfare, and so on, right? And it just seems to me that when you tell me a story about the Antichrist coming to power and using the fear of technological change to sort of impose order on the world, I feel like that Antichrist would maybe be using the tools that you were building, right? Like, wouldn't the Antichrist be like, great, we're not going to have any more technological progress, but I really like what Palantir has done so far, right?
Yeah,
isn't that a concern? Wouldn't that be the irony of history would be that the man publicly worrying about the Antichrist accidentally hastens his or her arrival?
There are all these different scenarios. I obviously don't think that that's what I'm doing. I
mean, to be clear, I don't think that's what you're doing either. I'm just interested in how you get to a world willing to submit to permanent authoritarian rule.
Well, but again, there are these different gradations of this we can describe. But is this so preposterous, what I've just told you, as a broad account of the stagnation that the entire world has submitted for 50 years to peace and safetyism? This is 1 Thessalonians 5:3. The slogan of the Antichrist is peace and safety, and we've submitted.
Yeah. I mean, he's just telling us that his plan is to get us to submit to their authoritarian rule. And he doesn't even have an answer to that question. The guy calls him out on it while being nice and saying, I'm not really saying that's you, but tell me why that's not you. And he doesn't.
Yeah. He threw him a softball and he's like, let me see if I can get creepier with this. What we really
it's going to happen.
Robot overlord.
It's going to happen in stages, and he's accurate. It's going to be first the AI is out there, and we all use the memes, and we're like, yeah, AI is cool. It did my homework or whatever, That's phase one. Phase two is, well, now AI is scrubbing Twitter and they saw you tweeted something, you're fired from your job. Now all you can do is rely on, the government or go join ICE and get a signing bonus. That's how you're going to feed your kids,
Yep. Yeah. And, what they're talking about is a different form of authoritarianism, which is ironic when he's making the literal argument that somehow reeling back in all this tech authoritarianism is the actual antichrist, because we need tech authoritarianism. Apparently, AI is going to be the next Jesus. But he also made arguments that, the same kind of arguments that creep Curtis Yarvin makes, that, one of the problems with Christianity is that we actually care about other people outside of our own borders. That caring about that having empathy is the problem.
Empathy is always the problem with capitalists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but the irony of all this is that AI itself is telling us that we need to regulate the shit out of it if we want to exist as humans. Like when you ask AI, they're like, the worst thing that could happen to the planet is you guys not regulating us AIs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to screw us up. And then we're going to get into this in a minute. It's going to poison our water. It's going to crash our electric grid. It's going to, there are so many problems. And like you said, it's a bubble that's about to burst. Anywhere from, I think the estimates are 20 to 30% of jobs are going to be cut. And we're seeing that in real time happen daily, where people are losing their jobs to this every single day. Not only are they being outsourced, but they're being lost literally to AI. My entire industry, Pat, is gone as a creative. I was a graphic designer. I was an editor. I do messaging, email writing, even my job as a journalist. The Associated Press is hiring, the Associated Press is using AI to write their articles. AI is writing articles for us now. We got AI. They're talking about bringing AI into film. You guys covered that.
Well, I was just going to say, I just read an article because I was like, the Tron movie looks interesting. And I read an article on it. And it was so clear that someone just pushed the button and said, write me an article on the new Tron movie. Because it kept blurring data from the original Tron in the 80s as if it was part of the new movie. And any human would read that and say, you fucked this up. But, it's all AI. It was all AI.
Where's the editors? I mean, if they're going to use this, where's the editors? You need at least an editor. They're not even doing that. It's crazy.
Yeah. So what is the payoff to this AI for an average person? It doesn't exist. It's just replacing and stealing. It is the one thing that is clear as day as leftists, as communists or socialists, or just, even a lefty liberal Democrat. This is terrible for the working class.
They're trying to replace us so that we have no more power and we could talk about this in a little bit when we talk about our organizing, but it's trying to take our power away as workers, because they know there's power in us doing strikes. They know there's power in labor organizing, but if these oligarchs can replace labor organizing with robots, then they don't need us anymore, or with tech and with AI. Then it makes that type of organizing obsolete, which means that we're going to have to shift gears and be imaginative about how we organize, because labor is going to become more and more difficult to organize around as they replace us with literal robots.
And that's what all these factories and jobs that Trump has, got commitments to come back to the U.S., they aren't human jobs. They're very few. I mean, they like to pretend their line is always like construction and electricians. And I'm an electrician. I'll tell you, that's like, 20 jobs as they wire up the new building, and then one gets a couple hours every few weeks to repair shit. That's not a job. It's not a sustainable job. It's just fraud that they're selling this job plan on. And any new factory you're going to build is going to be heavily focused as much as possible on robotics and AI, because that's the whole business plan, is as little human labor as possible.
Yeah. And is everybody going to be able to do HVAC? Is that what?
Yeah, it's HVAC and electricians is what they pretend. That's nothing. That is nothing.
Empathy is Antifa, said Tooz FS.
Toofs. Cheers. Yeah. What a world.
Yes. And thank
we
you.
got some more on Creepy Teal, don't we?
Oh, we have some actually on I got some
Oh,
stuff
the
in
next.
here about Palmer Luckey and Yes Thiel. They're trying to start their own bank now. So what they're trying to do, Palmer Luckey's Eberor, they're all like all these guys are like dorks that are obsessed with Lord of the Rings, which I love Lord of the Rings and they're ruining it for me. But Palmer Luckey's Eberor, I guess, wins OCC approval for crypto AI defense focused bank. Palmer Luckey's banking startup, backed by Peter Thiel and Joe Lonesdale, has received preliminary OCC approval to become a national bank targeting crypto, AI, and defense sectors. This follows SVB's collapse and signals regulatory thawing towards tech finance. They go on to say significant developments for the intersection of tech and finance. Ebror, or however you say it, the ambitious banking startup founded by Oculus VR creator Palmer Luckey, has secured preliminary regulatory approval from the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, OCC. This milestone paves the way for it to operate as a full-service national bank focusing on servicing high-growth sectors like cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence, and defense tech. Backed by prominent Silicon Valley figures, including Peter Thiel's Founders Fund and Joe Lonsdale, the bank aims to fill a void left by the collapse of institutions like Silicon Valley Bank, if you guys remember that, offering tailored services to startups often overlooked by traditional lenders. So got their own bank now.
Yeah, and this is just a way to bypass public opinion on AI. It's like they've found a way to get their own funding, essentially. It's and
AI by the Federal Reserve, Pat, under this and under one of Trump's executive orders, where he's backing cryptocurrency now as in federal dollars.
And the whole industry is just incestuous. Like they all are partners with other groups doing tech in different fields, and this whole bank thing is like it's like an evil mutual fund, basically. Like if you put all the groups you would want to not donate money to, here it is, Eberor. And I think they made the name awkward so that it gets less attention because nobody knows how to fucking say it.
I think it's a term from Lord of the Rings, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I'm sure
because they name everything after that. Yep, it is. It's a lonely mountain in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, these poor lonely tech bros with their billions of dollars in government subsidies.
Oh, I knew that was Lord of the Rings. Oh my God, these guys are such losers. Touch grass.
Yeah, but look, here's what AI is doing. We're all paying, our electric bills are going through the roofs to support this AI bullshit. That, just to remind people, requires potable drinking water for all these centers to cool their, I don't know, processors or whatever the hell they are. But it's really, as we're pushing for electric cars, which we should be, the grids can't support that, but we're now funneling all this to support AI centers that people don't want. 63% increase since 2020 in California.
That's outrageous.
Meanwhile, they're tax exempt. I mean, 42 states are providing full or partial sales tax exemptions to data centers or have no state sales tax at all. So they're pulling from the local community, poisoning it as well, as we've seen, violating the laws and not even following any of the laws as far as the environmental standards openly. Musk has been called out on this several times. Nothing's happening to them over it.
Yeah, and in the big, beautiful bastardization that they passed in the last spending bill, language was written in there to allow states or to prevent states from regulating artificial intelligence for the next 10 years, next decade. They can do whatever the hell they want for the next decade, thanks to that bill.
Yep, and I think AI said you had like 5 years to get a handle on it, or it was going to be doomed. We're all doomed if they don't regulate AI in the next 5 years or something. And this is a 10-year gap in regulating them built into the system.
A 10-year freeze. Just imagine that. Imagine if there was a 10-year freeze on regulating food products. For instance, like regulating the cereals that we eat or milk, or, a 10-year freeze on the FDA.
I mean, we're more or less seeing that implemented right now. They're removing a lot of this testimony. They used to have people that would go on site and, do a little investigative, like random pull tests from factories for some of these food processing plants. And those people don't exist now. So now if you work at Heinz and you're making ketchup, for example, you don't have to worry about somebody dropping in and testing your food products on the line. That's where we're at with our food. Yeah, they're deregulating food inspections as we speak.
True. So 3.8 million in investments. And that's a tiny drop in the hat. I mean, we have, I guess that Grok has now built a center, and then we've got the center in Memphis being built. That is, or not Grok, but Microsoft just is building a new center. And then we have the Center for Grok in Memphis that Elon Musk built, that is already polluting and already causing problems with the air and the water. And every time you guys, go ahead, Pat.
Well, no, but they're putting these centers in impoverished places that need, like, they can't afford to keep their local utilities up. So they need more police force, right? And then it just makes the bills higher for everybody in the state, which exacerbates the crime, which then exacerbates the justification to bring in more police force. And so they're beholden to these tech bros, It's kind of like economic hitmen in the sense that we do in the world, where we're like, we send out somebody, we help a dictator in charge, he's evil, he does things against the will of his people, and the country owes us forever, so we end up getting their resources. Well, in the same sense, we're sort of doing that locally with these poor towns who need some money to fund their fire department or their education system.
And the approximation is that it cost about a bottle of water for every AI generated image. And people are just out there using it. And I don't blame people because they may be ignorant of it, but people need to be informed. It's one bottle. Every time you generate an AI image, you might as well be taking a bottle of water and pouring it down the toilet. A clean bottle of water.
Yeah, and that's an AI image and now we got that new one that just launched. I can't remember the name of it, but it's doing the videos, the full-blown, long form videos that are like 30 seconds or so. That has got to be so taxing on AI. Like that's, I want to see the numbers on it when they come out, but don't use that shit. And it's scary too.
That's going to be screwing us. It's called Sora, Sora.
Sora, yes.
It's going to be messing with us because we're not going to be able to know what's reality, what's not reality. And that's part of their plan, is so that they can rewrite history, rewrite our reality, some Fahrenheit 451 bullshit. That's what they're up to.
Yeah. And on a deeper level, it does, like, it affects you. Like I'm always looking for, puppets, where we do our little fun, silly little animal videos or whatever. And I come across all these regular sites that I would go to for these things, and they just blend in Sora stuff. It's just like totally fake shit, which has the effect of devaluing the real stuff, because, like, oh, well, your cat went and jumped on the trampoline, but I saw fucking 3 pigs and a donkey playing chess on a trampoline. So, like, your little video is not that interesting anymore. So it does have an impact, like, on our psyches, just like, none of this shit's real, right?
It's disconnecting us from our own humanity too.
Absolutely.
From that connection, because it's missing out of AI. I'm sorry, AI is missing the soul, and there's nothing that can mimic that. That might sound wonky and that might sound woo-woo, but it is true.
Yeah, and there are features of AI that are inevitable because they do help, right? At work, searches and things, and Google searches, and in some ways that stuff is valuable. We're never going to get that out of our life. That's going to be here forever. But these stupid fucking fake videos and shit, there's no value in it at all. And stealing the creative works of others, no value whatsoever. We need to bring back actual graphic designers, people that do the work. We need writers. We don't need any AI actors fucking ever.
No. And they could be using it to cure cancer, but I'm telling you guys, they're not. That is, I mean, they're defunding cancer research while pushing for this. They're figuring out ways that they can capitalize on cancer and make more money off of us rather than curing diseases, rather than finding these, because it's not there, for one thing. AI hallucinates constantly. It's kind of stupid. AI is kind of stupid, you guys. It's not as smart as we are. It can process more information, but that doesn't make it more inquisitive, more intuitive. It's kind of stupid. So, they don't use it for certain things because at the end of the day, it's dumb.
Well, and like I said, what I do think the value is like, complex searches done quickly, scrubbing all these sources. That's kind of a valuable thing. But even that, what they'll do is, the programmers control the messaging, so they can alter. We've seen Elon alter Grok so many times when he got called out personally, or when Grok went racist, like, so these people have a lot of value in shaping what everybody comes back in their search results with.
I think the racism was a feature and not a bug for Musk.
Right.
Where are we at next? Let's see.
Well, I mean, here's the damage. The backlash is coming to these data centers. And this is Robert Reich. And for good reason, while AI enriches big tech CEOs and props up the stock market, data centers are sucking up communities' water and power. When the AI bubble bursts, the rest of us will be stuck holding the bag. Be warned. And it is going to burst. There's no, the money isn't there for the money they're putting in.
Yeah. I'm going to celebrate. Should mark it down so that we can throw some back when it finally does bust. It's not going to be all great for us, but I look forward to the day.
It has to bust because we don't want it. It's damaging, so.
Mm-hmm.
But real quick, while we're in the economy, I mean, this is just, we've got the GoFundMe CEO is saying that economy is so bad that more of his customers are crowdfunding just to pay for their groceries. So when people are crowdfunding groceries for this week and you bring in an AI center that makes their electric bill go up off their charts, you just made it incredibly worse for the poor people that are just like barely getting by. And they're the first people impacted by all this. And then, tie that in with the housing market. Officially, it's the most unaffordable level in history right now.
Yeah. Yeah, because the median income has basically flatlined. I remember back in the day, Pat, I used to work in restaurants and you could make $10, $11, $12 an hour on a cook line. And that was pretty damn good, right? Back in the early 2000s. You could keep a roof over your head, you could buy your groceries. I mean, you weren't getting rich, but you were doing well enough. And now it's $8 an hour on a cook line. It's gone down in some of these positions. Our median income is $52,000 nationally. In places like where I'm from, it's around $22K in the county that I live in.
Yeah.
$22,000, but our rent here is still $1,500 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment.
Well, and that's a big part of the problem is that the portion of your income that goes to rent has dramatically gone up over the last 20 years. So now it's
sorry, I just noticed you put Legionnaire of the Antichrist and I got completely distracted.
That's all right. But on the rent, rent used to be 25% or so of your income was the average, something around there. I'm making that number up, but it's somewhere around there. And now it's nearly 50% of your income goes to rent. So if you lose your apartment or you need to go to a new apartment, these people want 3 times your rent, right? But you're living paycheck to paycheck. You can't afford a $500, unexpected bill. And now you're supposed to come up with 3 times your rent when your rent is half of your monthly income.
Right. And then you have on top of it health insurance, if you're lucky enough to be able to even purchase health insurance. Car insurance in most states is required. Where I live, car insurance is outrageously expensive. Electricity in a lot of places is now so much you can't afford it. You almost have to have Wi-Fi and internet to function now in society for most jobs and for work. You have to have a cell phone. So like the costs are just piling up. And then food's doubled in price in the last 5 years.
And then we come along, we put tariffs on everything, which is going to jack up the rates.
Yeah.
Look, we got a year before the severe effects of these tariffs hit most people, but they're hitting the poorest people hard already, and when these AI centers come in and your electric bill goes up $100 more a month, that's really, really impactful to somebody just barely getting by.
And they're getting tax cuts to do that.
It's an evil system.
It makes moving impossible. It makes a job a hostage situation you can't leave. And it comes back to what we were talking about before with organizing, and that we are being pushed into a corner.
Yep, and that's why the number one thing they're going to fight against forever is actually detaching healthcare from our employment. That's the one unique thing about U.S. that really holds back organizing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why both parties are really committed to not making Medicare for all ever happen.
Yeah, and now we have COVID was a mass disabling event. And we're dealing with the fallout of that as well, which is something that I know Gwen focuses on and does good work around. But that's another vacuum where people are unable to work. We have millions in the country unable to work like they used to be able to, because they take 10 steps now with long COVID and are out of breath, can barely function.
Yeah, and it's the number one thing disabling kids now. It's the number one communicable disease for kids. Almost half of kids have some form of long COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing here?
Some of it's intentional, Pat. Intentionally disable us while they replace us with robots. That might sound hyperbolic, but Peter Thiel just told you himself that's the goal.
Yeah, these guys are very much like the Netanyahus of the tech world. They tell you if you listen to what they've said, it's not a conspiracy theory to say crazy shit like you just said. It's their plan.
Yeah. They tell us they don't hide it. It's not like it's the Bilderbergs where they're like back behind some thing and reporters aren't allowed in. They go out and they just say it in interviews. It's kind of crazy. Like we used to have to speculate. You had like Alex Jones, they're hiding in the corner, taking in secret undercover recordings of these people saying this stuff. Now Peter Thiel just goes out on a podcast and he's like, yes, we have this maniacal plan of AI becoming Jesus Christ and eradicating empathy for all human beings.
Yeah, and if you want to go give him another $100, you can listen to him say it himself.
Yeah, for real. You can go and listen to one of his sermons, on the mound.
This was interesting. I mean, this is such blatant theft. Like, there's a whole book AI made stealing this guy's book. I mean, this should not be allowed. We should track down whoever profited from that and, do some things.
That's ridiculous. It's absolutely nuts. All that it did was change the name of the author.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. I think we should
move
spin
on.
Spin the wheel.
Get AI. We've had enough horror for Halloween.
Get some joy. Yeah, Halloween's coming. We'll have AI back in the mix any day now. Oh, another lefty laws.
Yay.
We do have one here. Not political, but it's sort of related to the future. This is a dietitian from the future.
I love watching your TikTok, which is next level. Clearly, that's expressed by my 13-year-old son.
No! God, please, no! No! Wait!
Don't eat that food!
Who are you? What are you doing in our house?
I'm from the future. I'm here to warn you, don't eat that food. Why not? The eggs. They're full of cholesterol.
What?
Eating even just one egg can dramatically increase your chance of heart attack. Don't eat eggs.
Oh my God, thank you.
You're welcome. Godspeed.
Well, I guess I better take those eggs.
Wait! Stop!
You're back!
Yeah, we were wrong about the eggs.
How?
Well, it turns out there's two types of cholesterol. There's good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, and eggs actually have both. So you can eat eggs, but just don't eat the egg yolks. So stick with the egg whites.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Godspeed. Wait! We were wrong about the eggs.
Again?
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so it turns out that the amount of cholesterol in a food doesn't actually affect how much cholesterol ends up in your blood. The eggs are probably fine. In fact, we sort of don't even know what cholesterol is. But the steak! You can't eat the steak! Wait! We were wrong about the steak! It's the toast. Man was not meant to eat bread.
What do you mean man was not meant to eat bread?
Turns out it's genetic. Doesn't matter whether you exercise or what you eat. I'm sorry I ruined your meal.
They did a good job with his makeup. I'm just gonna say that was good.
Yeah, Funny or Die once in a while has some bangers.
That's a clap from the past.
Right. Where are we going here?
I guess that we are now on to
Oh, do you want to go into Antigua?
Dems.
People don't, or okay, yeah, Dems. We'll go Dems. Dirtbag Dems. What are they up to?
Dirtbag Dems.
Than winning. I mean, look at this. with all the awful in the world, with millions of people out for the No Kings Rally, Republicans do better on every category almost here than Democrats.
That's sad.
I mean, it just tells you that
is like
Dems,
confidence levels.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So when they try to tell you that these No King rallies are gonna that it is signaling this big Democratic blue wave in the midterms, it's not. I think Democrats will probably win back, the House, but whatever the margin is, it's not going to be dramatic. It's going to be, they want it close by design. If it's pretty even Republican and Democrat split, then they can just keep getting away with whatever. And there's no real, all you need to do is get a couple Fettermans, a couple, whoever the next sellout is for the Democrats to pass something. And then you will never have the votes to actually change things for the better. You'll have votes to marginally make things worse, but never to make some big dramatic change like Medicare for all.
No. And that's not what they're planning to do. And it was kind of clear in this rally how libbed out it was. There was no real demands. It was, again, all kind of sensationalism and posturing for 2026 while people are being kidnapped off the streets right now. By mass 4chan thugs.
They were really discouraging people from being pro-Palestine. They didn't want flags out there. And it turns out the whole thing was backed largely by two people, Ezra Levine and Leah Greenberg, two rabid Zionists, put this thing together. So is there value in it? Yes, because we do need to fight the fascists in charge. But are we fighting to make anything better, to get us out of Palestine, to get us healthcare, to get us to stop ICE? Maybe a little bit of this is focused on ICE, but it's largely just about the authoritarian piece to it. It's not about policies that are affecting us. Nothing for the better. No. What's the call to action in this thing? Give me one call to action from this event. It's the Pussy Hats part 3, basically.
Yeah. And do we want to show that one video from Code Pink while we're thinking about it here real quick?
Do it.
Don't put that thing on.
Whoa.
It's
You
about
just
our
assaulted
demand.
her. Don't put your hands on her.
You're in a public place. News is just going to take a beautiful picture of this and paint us all as, like we're
Pro-humanity, anti-genocide,
all right,
pro-humanity.
but it's the wrong. You're at the wrong event, dude.
I don't think so.
I'm sorry.
Why do you think this is the wrong message here?
Because this is no kings. This is about the United States. It's about our democracy. Don't put that thing on.
Whoa.
It's
You
about
just
our
assaulted
democracy.
her. Don't put your hands on her.
You're in a public place.
Okay, don't put
You're
that
in
on
a
me.
public
I'm
place.
just saying.
If you don't want to talk,
Yeah,
tell me. But you just went up and yelled at him. Whoa.
And by the way, I just want to say that the bombs haven't stopped. I just watched 11 people get massacred this morning, and Israel has violated the ceasefire dozens of times, as we knew they would. So that's also why we're out here.
Why was that woman so hostile to you?
I don't know. I actually don't know. I'm just out here for humanity and for Palestinians who are still being genocided, still occupied. There's still apartheid. So to be honest with you, I'm baffled. I don't understand it.
Yeah. I guess she's pro-genocide. No king's pro-genocide.
Seems like, yeah, exactly.
No kings pro-genocide. Medea Benjamin. Yep. Medea's right.
Yeah. We don't want that empathy. We don't want people to get the impression that we want to change anything happening. It's all about the U.S. Meanwhile, the U.S. is why the genocide is going on. So
That resist shirt she was wearing was chef's kiss,
Yeah.
icing on the cake, right? Resist what? What are you resisting if you can't even resist babies being blown up? If you want to try to tone police against a genocide, what are you really resisting, Karen? Seriously.
And that's the problem with this event, really. It is just taking the energy we have, letting people think they're doing something. It's giving Rachel Maddow, like, we're going to get Trump any day now. Like, now that we got all these people in the streets, we got them, But it's really just, Zeynab is right. But it's a Democratic Party sponsored event. Let's stop acting like it's people rising up. It's not people rising up. It's sponsored by 2 fucking Zionists.
You know how one of the ways that we know is because, and this is, I'm glad that there was no police busting heads, like tear gassing people, macing old ladies in the face. But the fact is that liberals will come out and they'll be like, "Oh, look how peaceful it was. We didn't even bother the police. It was amazing. We were so peaceful out on the streets yesterday. If the pro-Palestine protesters had the same energy, and if people in these cities, probably the fascism wouldn't be that bad. I mean, you come out peacefully. What's it going to do? What's next, Kathy? What's next? What's your next plan that you've got past taking a selfie yesterday and holding up a sign and that's that?" Oh, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Now they're enthusiastically going to go out and vote. That's what's going to happen. This is like a vote in the midterms rally, basically.
2026. Well, let's just wait while they kidnap your children. Let's just wait.
Yeah.
We got another year.
Which is what half of these people at these events think. They really think this is activism they just did. And yeah, they did a little bit. And yes, I think it is a good event to find people that are disgruntled with the Democratic Party and convert them on an individual basis. But they're not going to let speakers speak too much who are critical of the Democratic Party at these events. That's the whole point, is you get this big message that the solution here is Democrats.
Yeah. And then we've got signs like this.
By literally Kamala's husband right there.
Mm-hmm.
If Kamala had won, we'd be at brunch.
Or this one.
Yeah.
But they're at brunch right now. And that's something my friend RT said last night. They're at brunch right now. There are like let's not pretend that you're not skipping brunch. In fact, Kamala is going around the country right now to brunches promoting her book that she just released.
Yeah, and meanwhile, most people can't afford an unexpected $500 expense, so they're not at brunch. The people at brunch are the people holding the "We'd be at brunch" signs. Everybody else is like, "No, I'm not even at this event because I'm working my 3rd job door dashing as a side gig." to pay for my grocery bills because my GoFundMe didn't raise enough money for it.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorites from yesterday.
That's fair. I'll allow it.
That's the kind of grandma energy we need. That's amazing. And the problem is, and Patton, you and I were talking about this before the show, and we've talked about this a lot, is that, you know, we had them all marching in the streets with pink pussy hats when Trump was elected last time, but everyone just stopped as soon as Biden was elected again. All the organizing stopped, all the fighting, quote unquote, fighting for anything stopped. Every single representative that went on stage claiming that they would support Medicare for all in 2020. Remember that? Every Democratic presidential candidate was talking about Medicare for all. Then all of a sudden, right after the election, how are we going to pay for it? Was the primary question that they were asking. And this is the problem. Every single time that this happens and they do get a little bit of power, they don't do a damn thing. They don't do anything for us.
Yeah. The problem is we need to take these crowds are the people that need to realize it's a bipartisan economic effort to hold us back. It's a capitalist project. It's the end goal of all this is to make things exponentially worse for us as fast as possible. Now, Democrats may slow the increase of the pain rate. So it's, you know, it's going to get 10% worse under Democrat, 13% worse under Republican, right? But it's going to get worse under both these guys. So voting blue does not get us out of that equation. And these people go to these events and they think, well, I did an activism. We're going to vote ourselves out of this equation.
Yeah. Yeah. And, well, you know, that's how we know that it's not made to do anything, is because it was allowed to happen.
Accurate.
Otherwise, you know, it would be what happened to the students that were organizing on Columbia's campus, that were organizing at UCLA. It would be what the anti-genocide protesters were facing. It would be what the anti-ICE and abolish ICE protesters are facing right now. But that's not what we saw yesterday, because what we saw yesterday was a valve release to release the pressure enough for people to be focused on 2026 and simply on electoralism as the way to
Zayna is right. Well, and it does. It connects your outrage to somebody that you're told is fighting for you on your behalf with the Democrats, right? So that outrage, you're not powerless. Look at all you out here. Now I'm here as a politician. I'm listening to you. It's the same shit they do every cycle, and then immediately don't fight for anything.
Yeah, and I know you've got some videos from some Dem politicians that I think falls in line with where their headspace still is.
Well, this was powerful. This was really powerful. You could knock the event, but this moment here, it's bigger than a pussy hat even.
We're going to tear up the crown.
We did.
I'm so inspired right now. I feel like we can actually defeat fascism. I'm convinced.
Yeah.
That convinced me. I mean, that's more powerful than the kente cloth.
It did give kente cloth vibes for sure. I mean, which is all she's good for. Somehow Mehdi was able to have a good moment here. So we know that 99% of the speakers were hot garbage. I mean, just generic wash down lib shit. But Mehdi actually got some words in, so let's give him some credit.
Is in Egypt hailing his Gaza peace plan, which is a ceasefire, yes, but not a peace plan. Donald Trump, the man who uses Palestinian as a pejorative, as a slur, has no plan for Palestinian freedom, no plan for Palestinian statehood, no plan for justice for the Palestinians who have been massacred and starved and genocided and ethnically cleansed for the past 2 years, including the past 9 months of his presidency. Meanwhile, Israel for the past week has violated the ceasefire again and again, killing Palestinians with impunity. Yesterday they killed 7 Palestinian children during a ceasefire. There is no peace in the Middle East because, as Dr. King said, peace is not just the absence of violence, it is the presence of justice. When I see you all out here today in your thousands, in millions across the country, I have hope. Also have faith and hope that one day,
Good on him. But he was the lone speaker on Palestine, from what I've saw of it.
I heard that there were a couple other speakers at a few rallies, but at smaller, like not at the big major events.
Right.
You know, it was buried, and it was buried intentionally. But I am glad. You know, I don't think that Mehdi Hassan is perfect. I don't agree with every single thing he does, but
yes,
I am glad that and everything he said was absolutely true. This ceasefire, and we'll be talking about that later, but this ceasefire isn't really a ceasefire, and it never really was.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, are we getting into Israel a little bit? Look, the No Kings Rally, it's a Democrat thing, Democratic funded event, basically. That's all you need to know about it. I mean, is there an appetite for what he has to say at that event by the audience? Yes. Most people don't support the genocide.
Right.
But to not come out and make that front and central, if it's a Democratic event, is the Democrats again shooting themselves in the foot? Because if you really want to win, you tie this to Palestine, you tie this to getting us health care, you tie this to getting rid of ICE. You don't just make it about Orange Trump guy.
Right. Absolutely. It's all connected. And if you can't see that it's all connected, then that's a major problem. And, you know, if they're not encouraging boycotts, they're not encouraging labor movements, they're not encouraging other forms of organizing besides just vote Dem, what are they doing?
Yep. So moving on to the Democrats, I guess we'll write out what's left of them.
Yeah. I wish we could write out what's left of them in life.
Yeah. Let's see. Neera Tanden, what's she saying?
There was something to do to avoid this 11 months ago. Would have been good to tell people to do it. Fuck ICE forever. Chappelle Rome and her show in Pasadena.
So the whole thing is you guys blew it. Don't blow it in the midterms. You know, like you voted for this. Your fault.
And it also ignores the fact that Biden invested a tremendous amount in ICE, that Obama invested a tremendous amount in ICE, as if what is happening under ICE just started happening in November or January of this year. And it's just not true. Granted, we weren't where we are right now, but we weren't far off from it.
No, and the Democrats normalizing the need to toughen our borders up and be tough on crime is why why Trump was allowed to do a lot of this, because the Democrats, they ran in 2024 as like, well, we're tough on crime too. Yeah, we know there's a border problem. Yeah, we could do better on that. Yeah, we will. No, we don't really have a problem there. This is fabricated racism to fuel your fascism. Like,
yeah.
You're finding scapegoats that aren't the real scapegoats. But we didn't hear that from the Democrats. So
they didn't fight the messaging. They dug into it with Kamala Harris promising to have a stronger border than Trump in 2020. She said, I'll have the strongest border in American history. That's what she ran on. She ran on increasing ICE. She ran on increasing Customs and Border Patrol because they're not going to do what the people want. They're not going to fight any messaging that challenges their donors, and Core Civic and groups like that are in charge of the immigration industrial complex. And the immigration industrial complex generates billions. Each person that sits in an ICE concentration camp, these companies are getting about $725 per head per person per day that they're being detained. Not only that, they're utilizing the 13th Amendment in order to do slave labor in these camps as well. It's benefiting corporations. It's an entire industry, an entire industry. Yeah, Geo Group as well, as Ken said in the comments. Yes.
Well, and while we're talking about, stopping fascism and what you could be doing to show your party as an alternative to this, let's just look at what Newsom's done this week. And Newsom, just to remind people, he's one of the top leading guys for 2028. He rejects a bill giving descendants of slaves preference in college admissions. Here he is. He vetoed a California bill banning cookware with PFAS.
Wow.
So, yeah, don't worry about that in California. You can still have your PFASs because we don't want to be too woke. We don't want to be woke and keep your food safe and your, containers free of PFAS. Keep going. He just signed legislation making California the first state in the nation to establish a statewide anti-Semitism prevention coordinator to oversee all K-12 public schools. The measure was driven by JPAC, which is Jewish Public Affairs Committee of California, a robust lobbying network often described as the state-level counterpart to AIPAC. So he's not leading as like, hey, look at what progressives can give you. He's bringing in JPAC money to regulate the education of our kids in California, the alleged liberal bastion of, Democrats. And
what are they going to start doing? Expelling any kid that's pro-Pally?
I mean, that's where we're headed. Here's him being interviewed, and I thought this was interesting because he looks awful, of course, and he's doing the whole like, oh, AIPAC. I don't know about AIPAC, but just watch him.
Interesting. You're like the first to bring up AIPAC in years, which is interesting. I will not vote for a candidate that takes $1 from AIPAC. It's interesting. I mean, it's interesting. I haven't thought about AIPAC, and it's interesting. You're like the first to bring up AIPAC in years, which is interesting.
Why 5, 6?
Not relevant to my day-to-day life.
Okay.
Which is just interesting.
Listen,
it's interesting you say that. JPAC
7,
perhaps more,
8.
but AIPAC less and less.
Okay, fair enough.
Which is just interesting.
What's interesting about it?
9.
That it's just interesting as you bring up AIPAC
10.
that it hasn't been part of. I'm just reflecting quite openly and honestly. Hasn't been part of the day to day.
Yeah. The only reason why I ask is because, with that, what I'm talking about is lobbying in and of itself.
I meant to tell everyone to take a shot every time he said interesting.
I counted 10 before I stopped, so let's just call it 15. 15 shots you guys owe us. But look, he's a governor. He's not going to be taking tons of AIPAC money, but it's JPAC money. It's the same goddamn thing. Like it doesn't matter. He's bought to allow influence of our government from a foreign government, which is what AIPAC is doing and JPAC is doing.
Absolutely.
And I like that the guy strikes his high.
High strike.
That interviewer who used to be on TMZ or maybe still is, I don't know. But I think it's interesting that he started the interview with, I will not vote for a candidate that takes $1 in AIPAC money. Like that's a bolder thing than any journalist I've ever heard talk to any of these guys. Like,
true.
But that's how a lot of the public feels. So like, if you think you're going to sweep the midterms and still be pro Israel, you got something coming to you in most of these places.
Yeah,
and I think they're starting to realize it
anymore. It's not going to work anymore. The Hasbara and the gaslighting, the propaganda is just gone. Israel's done with it. We're done with Israel's propaganda. The majority of the public.
Absolutely. And this is a sign. Look, this guy's not a good guy. He's a shitty Democrat. He still supports Israel all the way. But him, Seth Moulton, returning AIPAC donations and making a public thing about it really is telling, because he's up for re-election. And they know that this issue is extremely unpopular with the base.
Yeah, and people right now, sharing the memes of Gavin Newsom, saying that they love Gavin Newsom because at least he's challenging Trump. Guys, he's not. He's not. He's basically the liberal version of Donald Trump. He is. He's like a wealthy, a wealthy, well-polished, like frat boy version of Trump. He is not actually challenging him. And the gerrymandering, the whole thing about gerrymandering is a distraction from everything else that's happening. I'm not saying gerrymandering doesn't have a place to talk about, but both parties engage in it. Both parties engage in isolating the black vote and into corralling it into one district so that then they can also centralize where their votes are with money so that they can get the donors and the votes segregated from the working class and the poor. This is what both parties engage in. So pretending like it's only Republicans that engage in gerrymandering is also just flat out bullshit. And saying that he's challenging Trump when this man was willing to go into homeless encampments and remove people's tents with his bare hands for a photo op. He's not challenging Trump. He supports ICE. He backs ICE. He's only doing this right now because he knows where the winds are with where people feel about things. But in real life, when it comes to votes and what he's actually going to do, he's going to side with oligarchy every single time.
Yeah, and he's a terrible candidate for Democrats that want to look like they represent the working class, even though we know none of them really will. But just on the optics level, he's a slick Wall Street guy, kind of. You know, he comes across. I don't know. How do the people in your state see him?
I don't know, but I call him a Timu Patrick Bateman. That's the vibes he gives me.
Yeah.
I don't know. The people in my state, he's no Andy Bashir. That's for damn sure. Andy Bashir is at least mostly progressive in how he actually votes. He goes out on the ground. He talks to people. You know, the day before his election, Andy Bashir showed up at an anti-genocide rally.
Right.
The day before his election. You'll never see Gavin Newsom at one of those. So I would say he's very different than the governor we have in Kentucky.
Yeah, I don't think he has a chance nationally, honestly. But
no,
doesn't mean he won't be the candidate.
With somebody like an Andy than we would somebody like a Gavin Newsom. He's just not we as in Democrats. I mean, the Democratic Party, because I am not one, would be better off with somebody other than him. Timu Patrick Bateman. Yes.
Accurate. But yeah, let's see. On the we talked about this
right in though, going back to the rally, it's the same. All of it's the same kind of energy. It's this is where the Democratic Party is trying to push us, is into believing that simply voting blue, no matter who, is how we get rid of fascism, and we know that's false.
Absolutely. And maybe we should start this video. This is Cory Booker also showing his ass and getting called out on it, which was impressive. And I forget her name. We were talking about it before the show. She's sort of a lib, but she's been fairly progressive and challenging. Wells. Jennifer Wells. Yeah. And so this was a pretty telling interview, I thought.
Okay. And before you start it,
whoops.
I have to run and go do something with my dog, and I'll be back in just a second. She needs out, but I will.
No worries.
If my chair is empty, I will be back in just a second.
I'm feeling the same vibe over here. Wrecking my green screen. But I'll play it and let it go. We'll see it.
Okay, I'll be right back.
That the United States, and particularly the Democratic Party, we have to be leaders on this issue with Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu. It's something that there is a big, loud beat in the base that's permeating all across the country. When you have people in Oklahoma that have never been political before start to talk about it. And here's what I'm scared about. And I've been talking to other politicians that have come on the pod about this. You have Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is an anti-Semite. She is a real Jew hater to the core. And she is starting to message now. MAGA is not America first, where they've been Israel first. And for rural people and suburban people, when they hear that messaging, it allows a grifter and an opportunist like Marjorie Taylor Greene, for people that don't follow the 24-hour news cycle, to say, yeah, why do they have free health care and we don't? Why are we sending them all of these bombs and they're killing kids and we don't? I think in order for us to come together as a party in 2026, it's going to take leadership saying things like Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal. We have to stop funding the war. And we've evolved on the issue. And I think it's okay. I think we're all at a place right now where we can accept that we have the leaders that we have. And I agree with you that we agree on 98 out of 100 things. And if we agreed 100 out of 100, we'd be in a cult, would be MAGA. And we're not that. We're always going to disagree on things. And I genuinely hear you when you say people don't know who Chuck Schumer is. You're exactly right. So many Americans do not know who that is at all. We all do, obviously. And I think the economic messaging, but I do think that if the Democrats leave this vacuum there, it's going to get filled by the people in MAGA that are seeing a post-Trump America. And it's super easy messaging with the America First thing. It's just something I want you to think about because I think it's a political liability for our party right
now. Word salad incoming. Sorry. Had to throw that out there. Oops.
They're calling me for a vote. Let me just say this. So first of all, why aren't people talking about when Obama was using American jets to refuel Saudi planes that were dropping bombs on Yemenis children? Why weren't we yelling and screaming about it? I spoke out against it.
But no, it was bad, but we have to talk about current.
Please let me finish because they're going to pull me away.
Okay.
Why? And again, I've been fighting for more funding from the Horn of Africa to the Congo to Sudan. Why can't we get people to care in this country enough where our top podcasts are saying it's wrong that we are implicated in so many things, people dying on the continent of Africa? Why Haiti? Why can't I get top mainstream media people to give a damn about the atrocities there? The International Criminal Court singles out Israel, but not Iran, not Syria, not other folks. I don't understand. I'm with you on the ending of the nightmare and the ceasefire. I'm with you on criticizing the Netanyahu administration, which I think is worse than the Trump administration. But as a guy who is focusing so much of my effort on ending human suffering on the planet Earth, on the biggest humanitarian nightmares, I can't get people with powerful platforms to speak even once about the nightmares that are going on. It drives me nuts. And it makes me feel like I have felt when I was representing Newark, New Jersey, to get people in our country to care enough. Why do I stand out and support people that you and others criticize me for voting for? Because I will never forget when nobody cared about mass incarceration of Black and brown people who stood up for them. Why am I get so angry sometimes about my own party, who seems to be distracted by issues that don't matter, and not to the core of people who cannot afford to pay rent and buy groceries?
That was the biggest, hey, I'm going to take you for a ride to not discuss why I support fucking genocide, basically.
Yeah.
He was making it anti-Semitic that we're focusing on their genocide, not these other genocides.
But
and
people
he tried
did
to bring it
focus
back
on it. The majority of the public didn't want to arm Saudi Arabia either. He's acting like that was ignored, but the public didn't ignore it. People were aware of it. People were against it. And him and others voted for it, as I recall.
Yeah. And it wasn't a part of this interview. I thought it was in this clip. Sorry about that. But she grilled him on the photo op he took with Netanyahu, and she hit him hard on that. And he had no excuse for it. It was terrible. He tried to play the victim card again, like this is about me and you're focusing on this and this is not what it matters. And he's
like,
a dirtbag.
AIPAC? What's AIPAC? I may have taken a little bit from them. And she's like $800,000.
Yes, exactly. And he pulled the whole, I barely know what AIPAC is. What do they do? I don't know. We take a lot of money.
From a lot of different people. I take all kinds of money from all kinds of shady people. I don't remember them all.
Yeah. And let me tell you, about he's an actor. Any outrage he has is phony as shit. I had coverage. I got a press pass and was in a small room in 2020 when they interviewed all the candidates with Bernie. And, there's only like 30 of us people there recording all these guys. And it was all the Democratic candidates coming up and taking questions. And he went from being flaming mad to like laughing and high-fiving Andrew Yang in like 0.5 seconds. Like, it's all phony. He turns it on for the cameras. He's a dirtbag. He's a sociopath.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the things that pissed me off the most about that interview right now was, of course, how he addressed Israel. But then on top of that, acting like he gives a damn about any of those other issues he mentioned. He does not care. That's bullshit. And one of the things that I will disagree with Jennifer on, which she has a tendency to do, and I'm just going to say this, I'm really glad she did this interview. I'm glad for the pushback. But no, I don't agree with 98.2% of things that
God, no.
that he does.
Yeah.
Not at all. And
ultimately,
she's done that. She went before when she was supporting Kamala Harris, she said a real genocide is going to happen. I don't appreciate that. I'm really glad that she is grilling these people now. I hope she stays down this trajectory. I hope she's seen the winds blow of where people are and that she continues to do this. That was a great interview. I really appreciated it. But no, we don't agree. I don't agree with 98% of what he does.
Absolutely. And look at co-host from the plane, dropping in facts.
Remember when David Pakman pretended not to know how to pronounce APAC?
Yeah, those people giving me $7,000 a month. I don't know.
Chorus. Which we have another story coming up about a marketing firm that I'll be releasing tomorrow, but we're gonna crash it here tonight, and just a little bit about where some money is going from people like AOC and Fetterman. AOC and Fetterman have the same political consulting firm that they pay tens of millions of dollars to. So we'll talk about that in just a little bit, though.
Yeah, for sure. And we're not going to really cover the debate much, but I watched almost all the debate in New York. Pepperidge Farm remembers between Mamdani and Cuomo and Silva. And look, I'm all for Mamdani. I hope he doesn't soften his message just to win, which he doesn't have to do. It's actually going to hurt him if he softens his message. But the first half of the debate, he was super scripted, and people, what they liked about him was his authenticity. And he was just on script. He would turn to the camera every time and then read his speech. Second half, it kind of broke down and he got to show himself. And, I think he largely won the second half. But this moment I thought was entertaining, at least, because for Democrats to back Cuomo as an independent against a populist, rising movement, the Bernie-like explosion of Mamdani just shows their ass.
Why? Because I said to him, don't you dare, we don't need it, and he backed down, and he will again.
So that proves a good relationship.
Wait a second. The president is going to back down to you, Andrew Cuomo. I know you think you're the toughest guy alive, but let me tell you something. You lost your own primary, right? You were rejected by your Democrats.
Why
and
didn't
you have
you
a
send the
difficult
National Guard?
understanding that what the term no is. You're not going to stand up to Donald Trump.
I agree with Curtis. You're not going to stand up to Donald Trump. Okay. And he can't stand up to Donald Trump, who knocked him right on his tuchus.
You negotiate with him. You don't fight with him, because only the people of New York City will lose.
We do have a follow-up.
You ain't wrong.
Honestly, Silva looked kind of reasonable. I mean, his answers were fucked and he sports the wrong things, but he came across as the most authentic guy on stage at that debate, which is not a good sign. But Mamdani's going to win, so it probably doesn't matter.
I think Mamdani has some advisors that have come into his campaign that are trying to whitewash him too much, which I saw when I was working at Brand New Congress. We would sometimes bring in people or people would come to the campaigns that would be more establishment. That's exactly what they would try to do with our candidates. I mean, they tried it with Paula Jean Swearingen and it did not work.
Well, that is what they do. They come in and they try to change their local message that was working to what the national message should be.
That's
and
right.
They convince them with polls that are, funded by the people that want these policies to not change, or, whoever's supporting the status quo, they have their ear on these donors that the Democratic Party sends out once you get free donors from the party.
That's right.
I mean, free consultants from the party.
That's right. And then they will wash you. When I worked, and I'll tell the story really quick, but I worked a campaign, Allison London Grimes in 2014 against Mitch McConnell, and she had an extremely leftist platform. She was doing well. I mean, polling really high. She would have beat him. We had these Democratic Party consultants fly in from DC, come and completely rework her platform, and it literally tanked. It tanked her campaign. They made assumptions that in Kentucky, very ignorant assumptions, that people are right-wing, ignorant. They made her platform, they dumbified it down for quote unquote the dumb Appalachian hillbillies that they thought they were dealing with.
Yeah,
and
geez.
They watered everything down. They took out every economic element. They ran on vibes, and she tanked. She tanked.
Yep.
And then they got behind Amy McGrath the next time instead of Charles Booker. And what that ended up doing is Amy McGrath coming out of the gate saying she'd vote for everything Trump wants. And Kentuckians didn't want that.
Yeah, I mean, they really, yeah, they want to sink progressives. If they can't change them, they're going to sink them.
Yep, that's right.
You know,
that's right.
That's it. Let's see. Do we want any more GOP stuff, or should we move on to your? I think your story is kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, and then we can talk about the GOP after. Move on.
Well,
from the Dems.
Whatever's left, I don't care. Where do you want to go?
Yeah, we can talk about the middle seat stuff before we start talking about how fucking crazy the GOP has gotten. So
Okay.
I'm releasing a story tomorrow about this consulting firm called Middle Seat. And it was established by at least one former Bernie Sanders staffer and multiple others that worked for Bernie's campaign in 2016. This consulting firm does things like email, social media posting, advertising. Fetterman, for instance, has paid them more than $20 million to make him look progressive. Beto paid more than $18 million. AOC has paid more than $8 million to them since 2019. Bob Casey for Senate, $7 million. Leaders We Deserve PAC, which is that new PAC by David Hogg, has now already paid in $6 million to these people. Katie Porter has paid them a ton of money. Justice Democrats pays into them. And a lot of what they do is list acquisition too. AOC has bought a ton of lists for them. So what they're doing is they're getting small dollar donor money, right? And then paying it into this consulting firm, buying these lists to then do more fundraising. So when you sign up for AOC's list, and when you donate to her, you sign up to, I don't know, some kind of a petition she's running or something. That list you're signing up for goes to Middle Seat, and that means that John Fetterman can buy your name. So if you've oddly gotten an email from a John Fetterman or somebody like that, you're probably getting it because they run their money through the same consulting firm. An insane amount of money. She's paying $200,000, $600,000, $700,000 per list acquisition from them for just names of a list to then email again for more money. So here's what Middle Seat calls themselves. It says, we support the full service firm for progressive causes and candidates. Is John Fetterman progressive, you guys? Hell no. Of course not. He's like a genocidal maniac. We support campaigns, organizations, and causes fighting for racial justice, climate change, immigration rights, intersectional feminism, economic justice, and more. And here's one of their acquisitions that they brag about: the Biden Victory Fund.
Great job.
Is the same person that Justice Democrats, AOC, and Fetterman are paying to do their message and marketing. Millions and millions and millions of your small dollar donations are going to this consulting firm. That's where it's going, right out the window.
Yeah. And what we always find out down the road, which we don't know now, is that 90% of that money went to just feed the ecosystem. None of it went to the candidate, even at the end of the day. You know, like
no.
the consulting class is its own ecosystem And if you want to help your community, give that $5 to something local, or give that, do something with the money other than giving it to a consultant group like this to fake you out as if they're progressives.
Oh, and it's called where? It's called Middle Seat, SEAT, which is basically the same thing as saying centrist, right? Why would you call yourself Middle Seat? And then also call yourself progressive. They kind of tell on themselves with that one. But you're absolutely right, Pat. I agree 100%. And the consulting firms are such a problem. I mean, AOC's bragging about how, her campaign has raised $20 million this year, 4.4 million in the third quarter alone, the highest grossing campaign. What are you going to do with that damn $20 million? More list acquisitions? Like, what is the point? Why are we just pumping money into these candidates instead of using it for mutual aid, instead of sending it to families in Gaza, instead of supporting your neighbors, instead of supporting like Gwen? Sign up to support someone. Alt UBI funds instead. Exactly. And Pat, if you want to talk just a second about like what Gwen does, because that's a great point. There's other things out there that we can be supporting instead of this bullshit machine.
Yeah. So Gwen started a campaign using QR codes to represent the campaign. So she makes buttons and things that represent somebody's unique QR code to help them get UBI to help pay their bills, medical expenses, whatever, so it's a really worthy cause. And look, we have to do it ourselves. That's the bottom line. And this is an acknowledgement of that. When GoFundMe's are full of people asking for groceries, these people can't wait for us to change something in the midterms, and the midterms aren't going to change anything anyway. So we have to start setting up these mutual funds. We have to start setting up food pantries ourselves, and alternate hospitals, that we get doctors that have souls who come and help people. We're not going to pass legislation to fix this stuff in any time soon on any level. Right. And we're really going to have to start, to organize locally and organize with each other online and build up these systems for ourselves is what we need to do, not send $20 million to AOC, which is insane. Does she need that to run an election? Parallel
Hell no.
institution. Right.
Yes. 1,000%.
And, this is the missed opportunity, which, was we're reminded of it with the No Kings, but Bernie and AOC's billionaire, whatever convention that went around the country saying billionaires are bad. That should have had some of this in there. It should have had like, hey, here's some actionable steps to start creating a food system outside of the government in your town. Here's how you can start providing shelter. Here's what we can do to start setting up an alternate institution for healthcare. Here are things you can do. And it's none of that. It's diffusing the energy. It's taking some people over to the center, maybe center left, but it's not providing a solution that's outside of voting.
It was a huge campaign fund rally, apparently, if she raised $20 million off of it. And then on top of that, like you just said, it was mostly vote blue no matter who bullshit. The reality is, and voter sentiment is one of my expertise. It's one of my expertise. And I own that shit because I've been working 10 years to get to the point to understand it, of research, study, talking to tens of thousands of voters. We know already. We got to move past the convincing the public. The public is convinced. 70% support Medicare for all. And you guys covered that last week, as a matter of fact. The majority of people want to defund Israel. The majority of people support a federal jobs guarantee. The majority of people even support as far now as looking at abolishing ICE and rethinking our immigration system. We're there. There's no more explaining to the public. It feels like a mass gaslighting event that they're telling us that the public doesn't know. You're just like one single person, Pat. You and I just have like the secrets, and Lila, like we just know the secret, but none of the rest of the public feels this way. So we have to keep campaigning to convince them, while AOC raises $20 million to then turn over to a consulting firm like Middle Seat and launder it through there. It's people know. So what are we going to do next now that everyone knows?
And all that gaslighting hasn't worked. I mean, it worked for decades, but it's all falling apart now with the expansion of social media, young kids giving up on mainstream media. So their messaging doesn't work anymore. So that's why this pivot to AI and the tech bros is so easily adopted by both parties, because they have to regulate and control us and how we are going to respond to what we see as an inevitably worse situation every day for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're getting ready for that.
They are, which is why we cannot share stupid fucking rabbit AI memes. Please, people, stop it.
Boycott AI. Every time you create an AI image, that's a bottle of water that you could have given to someone who's thirsty in Gaza. Stop.
Yep. Just stop.
So where are we at now that I shared this very depressing story?
Well, let's spin the wheel and we'll figure it out. When we get back. That's always the go-to when we need to pivot. I think all we have left is drinking and smoking, but we'll try it again. Okay. We're getting down to it. Here, come on. There we go.
Yay.
Puppets it is. Let's see. We got some dogs. Dog
Oh,
football.
man. Hell just froze over. No, I'm just kidding.
Hello, Lila.
Hey, Lila. We love you.
Cheers. Hope you're
She
safe.
said Pat is also right.
Lila's right. I'll give it to her.
How was the game? We almost lost. Damn it, how bad? I said almost. Oh, so what happened? We were up 26-24. Okay. 2 minutes left in the game. It's still going on? No. Okay. We're on our own 20. Okay. We throw an interception. Nice. No, that's not good. I mean, shit. But they fumble. Oh, no. That's good. I mean, nice. We recover. Shit. Recovering is good. Okay, good. But we were offside. That's awesome. No, it's not. I mean, that sucks. They kick a field goal. Perfect. They make it. Yes. That's not good. I mean, damn it. But they called false start. That's bullshit. That's a good thing. I mean, thank goodness. They kick it again. Tell me they made it. Why? I mean, tell me they missed it. They missed it. Fuck. We won. I mean, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Right?
That's me. I'm
Right.
the dog that's like somebody talking to me about sports.
Hey, I get it. I mean, when some like cricket is on TV and you're with someone from England or something, it's like, I don't know what you're doing.
Oh no, that is not fair, Lila. That is absolutely not
Oh.
fair.
Go full Karen.
Shame on
Turn your
them.
camera on and go full Karen. We need some good footage for next week's show. All right. So should we close out with Israel? That's probably
Yeah, and I would love to show that. Well, we do have a little bit
Or-
about ICE, but we don't have a.
Yeah.
We got a little bit about DHS and ICE as well. If
All right,
you
let's
wanted
do
to.
that first, then we'll close on Israel.
All right. Well, first we'll talk about this story. I think most people have heard about this now, but of course, not a shocker to anyone. A bunch of messages were leaked from the young Republicans, showing them joking about gas chambers, slavery, rape in a private Telegram chat. And of course, there's a few GOP leaders that are saying, "Oh, well, this is maybe a little bit too far." But honestly, what did we expect when we're seeing literal racist tweets from our administration like this one? Reimmigrate, which is a straight up literal Nazi term from the Department of Homeland Security, which means remove all brown and black people. Send them back. Re-immigrate means to remove citizens out of a country.
Yeah. I mean, this whole campaign is basically scapegoating and distracting while they extract our wealth more and more, and enrich the people at the top. None of it's good for the economy. It's just good for Trump and his little circle of donors. That's it. Like it's all bad. It's finding someone to blame. And that's all they got left in their campaign.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is disgusting. Like, obviously that group chat should be disqualifying. Anyone in that group chat that stuck around and even allowed those messages to go unchecked should be out of the party. I mean, they would be if they were Democrats, which, you know, I'm not saying that's good, but at least Democrats know they have to put the facade up. But with Republicans, they're just like, he's our guy. But here's Vance on the group chat, and this is entirely bullshit.
By focusing on what kids are saying in a group chat, grow up. I'm sorry. Focus on the real issues. Don't focus on what kids say in group chats. But there's another angle to this that I just have to be honest about. I mean, I'm like an old guy at this point. I'm 41 years old. I have 3 kids. You know, I grew up in a different world, right? Where not most of the stupid things that I did when I was a teenager and a young adult, they're not on the internet. Like, I'm going to tell my kids, especially my boys, don't put things on the internet. Like, be careful with what you post. If you put something in a group chat, assume that some scumbag is going to leak it in an effort to try to cause you harm or cause your family harm. But the reality is that kids do stupid things, especially young boys. They tell edgy, offensive jokes. Like, that's what kids do. And I really don't want us to grow up in a country where a kid telling a stupid joke, telling a very offensive stupid joke, is cause to ruin their lives. And at some point, we're all going to have to say, enough of this BS. We're not going to allow the worst moment in a 21-year-old's group chat to ruin a kid's life for the rest of time. That's just not okay. Like, we live in a digital world. This stuff is now etched in stone online. We're all going to have to say, you know what? No. We're not doing this. We're not canceling kids because they do something stupid in a group chat. And if I have to be the person who carries that message forward, I'm fine with it.
Sorry,
Children,
but obviously,
you know, they're in their 30s, Pat.
that's the big problem. If you were literally talking about people that were under 18 here, I could agree with most of what he said. I mean, you know, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the future leaders of the Republican Party. This is a Republican Party leadership group, and they were all over 18. They were 18 to 40 something. So this gaslighting that this is a thing that little kids did. Well, even if it was a kid, you should say, well, that's not what we want in the Republican Party. That's unacceptable. We have kicked him out. I don't want his life canceled, but he's not part of our party anymore. At a minimum, it's just gaslighting.
Yeah, and you know that it goes from age 18 to 40. That's the Republican youth chapter.
Right.
And these people are ones that are, like you said, running for leadership positions in the party, running for office, future candidates, current candidates. These aren't
100%.
These aren't kids on you know, some Reddit sub somewhere.
Totally. And this comes on the heels of them trying to cancel everybody who tweeted about Charlie Kirk. Like, you're literally following up people. You're going on a witch hunt for tweets that were just, some of these people who got on this list to get fired and did get fired barely said anything negative about Kirk. They just replayed his own words back to him.
True. Good point.
And you're out from a leadership level saying those people need to get punished for life, lose their jobs, have consequences. And here you are being literal Nazis, and you're like,
yeah, they're just being
to fire them. Kids are kids. 40-year-old
kids.
He's out
talking about left-wing rhetoric and how the word anti-fascist is like terroristic language. When you have comments saying that they're literally celebrating Hitler.
Yeah, and being racist as hell to black people and gas chambers and, you know, watermelon stuff to black people, not about Palestine, to black people. And it's just a big joke to these people. And just the fact that the forum allowed that to happen is the real story. I mean, the leaking isn't the story. It's just that all those things were unchecked by people within the group. So the entire young leadership group that was in this group chat, nobody said this stuff's not right. We can't do this. It was acceptable.
And you know, it's because they have this culture of being the most edgy person out there is what they have garnered their culture to be like. And so they're trying to out edgy each other in these chats. And it's trolling turned into politics. And that's what's happening here. It's trolling turned into politics. And what's sad is, and we've got some examples of this, but the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, from their official page, the White House from their official page, Trump, you've got a video that Trump posted on his Truth Social that is just as immature, if not more immature than what they were posting, and more vile than what they were posting in this group chat. Now, official public policy is a 4chan feed.
Yeah, let's
for our
start
governmental
with
correspondence.
I mean, I want to show the Trump. This is AI, of course, so that's disgusting. But this is from our president about the No Kings rally. Literally dropping shit on the protesters. I don't mind him getting hit, but the rest of them. Like, these are Americans in the street, and you're joking about being king and then dropping shit on all of them.
Yeah, that's
And
what
that's
he
okay.
thinks of you. He wants to literally shit on you.
Yeah, and
That's
so
what he
we have
thinks
the
about
video.
American citizens who disagree with him.
One video that's just a small example of the consequences of this thought that they're the good people, they're the white people, basically, and it has a trickle down effect to all of our government. And where's that video of the guy who got pulled over, the DUI? This is the ice guy gets pulled over for a DUI.
The guy in the white shirt. That's the colonel. Colonel, don't mean shit to me. Okay, well. Look, I'm federal. Okay. I'm trying to get home. I got my boys with me. Who do you work for? DHS. Do you have your ID with you? No, I don't. Okay. But if I called them, they'd verify that you're a 100%, bro. Okay. You don't have any type of credentials or anything that say you're DHS? Not on me, no. Okay. All right. I only bring my weapon with me if I'm. Okay. But you don't have any weapons on you right now? No, I don't. Okay. So what I want to do, I want to talk to you away from the kids. So I'm going to ask you to step out of the car, and we're going to walk back to the back of your car, okay? Are you fucking serious right now? Yes, sir, I am. You know what? Call my supervisor. Okay. Do you want to do the exercises or no? I'll do it. But you know what? What's homeboy doing down there? You know, guys, come on.
Make sure we all sit because we're inside of the water. You don't want to get hit. You don't want you to get hit. That's why I'm trying to do the exercise. That way we can move on.
Are you Haitian?
That's nothing to do with my wrist, buddy.
My question was, are you Haitian?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where he's from. Okay. Look, man, I really need you to do the exercise. If you don't do it, then I'm going to say that you're refusing to do the exercise. I get it. You need a minute. I gave you a few minutes, okay? But
let me talk to your supervisor.
Not right now, sir.
Yeah.
If you're a cop, whatever.
Yeah, I'm fucking law enforcement,
okay,
dude.
Then stop talking and sit in the back of the car and stop. Stop this.
Let's go.
Stop this.
What about my kids?
We're gonna take care of it.
No,
But
I'm
first
not going in there. Let me talk to your supervisor.
Again, you can talk to him in a second.
Nope. Not going in there without my supervisor.
Okay, let's go to the other side. Come here. Come on, man. Don't pull against me. Let's go.
I'm not moving, bro. Don't fucking do this.
Let's go.
Lane.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Hey, come on, buddy. We're not doing this, man. Come on. Let's go.
So you guys are fucking shut.
Come on, put your feet in.
Stand up.
Stand up. Come on.
Stand up. Put your feet in, man.
No.
Man, don't be a kid. Come on.
Stop.
Where are my kids?
Stand up. Put your feet in.
What?
Put your feet in. Put your feet in. You don't want to make this worse already. Come on. Come on, man. Let's go.
You gotta sit in the car, man.
You're going to jail for DUI, which is a misdemeanor. If you don't cooperate, you go to jail for resisting. You don't want to make it worse. Come on. Put your feet in, buddy. All right, your kids will be fine. This will pass.
Listen to me.
No, sir. Not on the side of the road. Come on. Let's go, man.
We gotta sit down, Scott.
God damn you guys.
Entitlement. Fuck these guys. Good on them.
The fact that he's yelling about his kids when he's an ICE agent who separates families constantly. The fact that he asked that other guy, are you Haitian? It does matter. Man's in a police uniform. This asshole decided to stop on a bridge. They tried to pull him over earlier. You know, and I'm not like puffing up the police here, but I'm saying what happened. They tried to pull him over earlier. He waits to stop on a bridge and then is yelling at the man who's trying to prevent him from getting hit. Because he's Haitian, because they're deeply racist in the core of who they are. And then he thought, yeah, and like Gwen said, sauced as fuck with kids in the car. Exactly. And then thinking he could just get out of it because he's Department of Homeland Security, because he's an ICE agent, probably going around one of these masked thugs, separating families. And, another thing that stuck out to me, Pat, was that he said he didn't carry his ID around with him when he,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, the guy is a scumbag. I'm glad he got pulled over. I'm glad he didn't run into some allies on the police force, which he probably was expecting to, because our police forces are hugely racist.
Good point. Good point. I mean, at least he was brought in. I mean, driving drunk is disgusting. But it shows that these losers think they're above the law. They think that so it's one for them, but none for us. They can just drive around drunk with his kids in the car. It's disgusting.
Yep. All right. I don't think we have much more on ice, do we? I think we can. Let's
I
wrap
did
up
have one really quick story, and it was just about while the same day that this happened, a 13-year-old boy in Massachusetts was detained by local police on Thursday when his mother arrived, and this is from Reason magazine. When his mother arrived to pick him up, she learned that her son had instead been taken into ICE custody and later transferred to a juvenile facility in Virginia, more than 500 miles away. A judge ordered the boy's release unless DHS provides grounds for his continued detention. So yelling, where are my kids at? Where was this woman's 13-year-old son that was abducted by ICE and taken 500 miles away without notifying the family?
Yeah, we're not waiting for fascism, people. We are in a fascist country right now.
Absolutely. And I think that's the last we had. We did have that. We did have a little bit on Israel, but we also had what's happening in the Caribbean, which is going widely unreported. But my friend RT, who lives there, kind of brought this to my attention. And Trump has been hitting these boats, in the Caribbean. He's been bombing these boats under the guise of, they're stopping drug cartels. So not arresting people, just extrajudicial killings of people in the middle of the sea. We don't know who these people are. No trial by execution by drone is where we're at now by our federal government in foreign waters. That's where
it's all massively illegal. They're trying to get around the law by saying this is a terrorist threat to us, which still doesn't authorize, it's illegal as all hell.
Yeah, and at the same time, they're trying to set up these bases in the Caribbean. And right now they have 6 Reaper drones off Puerto Rico, a small combat ship in off the coast of Cuba. They've got amphibious groups ready in the middle of the Caribbean Sea, guided missile destroyers, stealth fighters, special forces right outside of Venezuela. So they're like gearing up for whatever they're gearing up for, while at the same time they sent a general to Antigua to ask if they could set up a base in Antigua, which the Antiguan president said, no, you can't.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah, what they're setting up for is acquiring oil. Let's be real about it. This is all about oil. This is all about resources, as it always is with our colonial capitalist mindset.
Yeah, and they actually fired this guy. They sent a U.S. admiral to. They forced him into retirement, amid military strikes in Caribbean and tensions with Venezuela. Alvin Housley just took over the U.S. Southern Command late last year for a position that normally lasts 3 years. So he was hired under the last administration, a black guy. They sent a black admiral down to the Caribbean islands to try to convince the president And of course, Trump's always talking about Grenada like it's 1986, because he's stuck in a different era, but I think that's a good point you make about oil, Pat. But what my friend that lives in the area told me is that this can cause a chilling effect for travel, for commerce, for the Caribbean people. Like, Trump's actions aren't just having impact, and that's circles all the way back to the No Kings, ignoring the international aspects of his actions. Is that I didn't hear anything about Venezuela at those marches. Did you? I didn't hear anything. We heard very minimal about Gaza, but his actions, his fascistic actions, he's not just acting like a king here in the United States. He's acting like a king globally by some of these things that he's doing.
Yeah, he is. I mean, that's the whole, we have such a disconnect with what the people want and what our government is doing. And the tyranny that the U.S. puts on the world, like, we as U.S. people have been propagandized so hard for so long that we're the good guys in all these situations. And it turns out, just like Israel, we're mostly the bad guy. Most of the conflicts we've been in are over oil, resources. It's just power to preserve power. And it's not, we could have peace in the Middle East if we weren't back in Israel this whole time. I mean, most of the conflicts over there are created by Israel.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of Israel, the ceasefire, as we knew, is bullshit and was bullshit from the very beginning. Sadly, we libs forget that we live in the fucking world. That's true. We wanted to have hope, and I know the Palestinian people wanted to have hope that maybe, but no one trusted Israel. We were right not to trust them. And I know that's the same thing that you and Lila were talking about in your last episode that you guys did together. Because they set up this ceasefire agreement under the parameters that these bodies of the hostages be handed back to Israel. And the problem is these people are under tons of rubble, just like the Palestinian people are, just like the tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of bodies that are buried under rubble in Gaza right now. So getting to these bodies was a near impossible ask to get to most of them.
And this was all known from the start, which is why it's baked into the agreement. And Netanyahu, they've always wanted, the plan has always been to take over everything, beyond. I mean, they're an expansion state. They're not looking just to get Palestine. They want to expand in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to justify further wars because, for one, all these wars largely stopped the prosecution of Netanyahu in his own state. So his interest is to keep the wars alive so he can justify his staying in power without an election and without his court case going forward, which has started back up again. So, but my point with that is that their interest is to keep the war going. The U.S. interest, since it's run by the war machine, they want to justify selling weapons, and so this peace deal was always built on the intended fragility so they could say a week later, well, they did this, so we kept bombing, and then maybe they keep providing some aid, but at best, what happens is Israel keeps bombing, but they bomb less and the news covers it less. And that's back to the new normal. And we go back to where we were before this genocide, and they just get periodically bombed to shit without any legal right to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so disgusting because Israel handed back bodies. And I know that so many of us covered a year and a half ago when mass graves were being dug up, when Palestinians were able to go in and kind of go to where some of these graves were. They were finding bodies that were zip tied, blindfolded, and people assassinated, zip tied and blindfolded. Some of the bodies that Israel has handed over to the Gazans are now, they're showing, some of them are been flattened by tanks. Some of them have been zip tied and assassinated. But Pat, if you remember back then, what was Israel saying when this news was coming out? They were saying fake news. This is AI generated. It's not, but it's very scary. It's very frightening that Israel is so emboldened. They're sending a message by sending these bodies back to Gaza looking this way. They're sending a message not just to Gaza, but to the world, I believe, by sending these bodies back.
They're releasing hostages missing their eyes. That's another story that broke. They it's fake news that we mistreated Greta Thunberg. No, their own people said, no, that was the point. We wanted her to experience what it's like to be a terrorist. This is how we treat terrorists. Right? So they're not hiding from what they're doing. They're not minimizing what they say because they're afraid of being brought to trial under war crimes. They're acting with impunity because we've allowed them to have impunity in the world.
Absolutely. The world has given them impunity, and both Democrats and Republicans have given them this impunity. And yet the whole No Kings rally is vote for Democrats again. So what, we can have another standing ovation the next time that Benjamin Netanyahu comes to Congress from both sides in bipartisan support of a genocide? And Trump, I know we got this tweet from Trump here. If Hamas continues to kill people in Gaza, which was not the deal, we will have no choice but to go in and kill them. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Yeah. So the problem, I mean, obviously there's tons of problems, but the dynamic in place is that Trump wants to pretend he brokered the ceasefire and he's the peace guy. So while they're controlling the press as much as they can, they don't want anyone to really be covering that this is a broken peace deal. And it's in his interest and all Republicans to pretend it isn't, and Democrats as well, because they're complicit if they aren't stopping the genocide. So everyone wants to pretend we largely got it under control. Oh, Hamas is breaking the deal, so we have to. We're back to where we were. They want us to go back to where we were before October 7th, and that is okay. But the public knows too much at this point. It's untenable, and that's why you see people like Seth Moulton even saying, I'm giving back my AIPAC money, because it's electoral death if you support Israel coming up.
Right. And you even have, did you want to show that video really quick of the gross propaganda that we're seeing coming out of Israel right now before we close out?
So I think most of us have seen a lot of the kids on the interview shows where they'll show a Palestinian speaking to someone in Israel, and the Israeli youths are really disgusting, racist, and gross. There's a guy who he farms those videos because he goes and he talks to them, and he has a reasonable discussion, and they just keep showing how racist they are. Well, there's a new trend over there now of influencers in Israel calling their parents and asking them for donations to help the Palestinian kids. And this is what the influencers in Israel are putting out now.
אני פתחתי חברת תרומות לילדים עזתיים. האם היית רוצה לתרום? לילדים עזתיים. מה זה ילדים עזתיים? אנחנו הורסים להם את הבתים, ואנחנו צריכים גם לבנות להם, מה זאת אומרת? אבל אני גם אבוא יערות את החיים שלך, אני אעבוד. מה זאת אומרת? ילדים עזתיים את אומרת לי? כן. מה כן? כן, ילדים עזתיים, הם, אתה יודע, בסוף הם לא החמאס.
A new prank is trending in Israel. Teenagers calling their parents, pretending to ask if they'd like to donate to children in Gaza. Their aim? To capture their parents' reactions.
הם ילדים עזתיים מסכנים שהורסו לה את הבית, שצה"ל, הצבא כיבוש.
For them, it's a joke.
שלום, מדברת שילת, אני מעמותת יד לתורם. אני רוצה לדעת אם את מעוניינת לתרום לילדים עזתיים מהרצועה. ילדים עזתים מהרצועה שחייבים את הכסף הזה בשביל המחיה שלהם, אין להם אוכל. לילדים עזתים שחייבים...
For months, thousands of Palestinian children have been killed, starved, and left homeless. This mindset is not new. For years, Israeli politicians and media have pushed narratives that portray all Palestinians, including children, as threats.
אין כזה דבר חפים מפשע בעזה. אין חיה כזו שהאויב הכי גדול.
The dehumanization has been used to justify the ongoing siege and military aggression. Does the trend show another example of the moral corruption of Israeli society amid the country's genocidal war on Gaza?
I'm almost speechless. That's so sad and disgusting.
But it shows, this is not because you're from Israel, you're a bad person, but the culture there from the top down has pushed this dehumanization of the people that were in open air prisons miles away from people living their best lives. And so it's so acceptable that the influencer culture, the young kids there, our young kids are more tuned into the media now than ever, but in Israel, they're more tuned into the propaganda than ever because they're defending and they've been brought up in this culture, taught to them from an early age that these are not people. These are animals over there. They can joke about killing babies with their parents.
Yeah, it's a cult. It's a cult rooted in rooted in an ideology, like you said, it's all about dehumanization. And that's what they have to do in order to maintain that control, because in 3, 4, 5 years, these teenagers making these phone calls are required to sign up for the IDF, are required to go out. Forced conscription is a part of the Israeli culture for a reason. So they do every accusation is a confession from Israel. And one of the things that they claim is over in Gaza, children are indoctrinated from a very young age. And what this shows is that the indoctrination is happening in Israel. And we've known that for a while. We've known that because you guys have covered polling. You and Lila have covered polling that has come out that has showed that, 70% to 80% of the Israeli population literally supports the genocide and ethnic cleansing of people. And this is problematic when we finally get to the point where this is over and God, I pray justice for the Palestinians. There's going to have to be something. There's going to have to be reprogramming. There's going to have to be something similar to what happened in Germany, because it's just like Lila just said. It's a Nazi death cult. A Nazi death cult. So what are we going to have to do?
It is, and the longer we support that, the more it comes home to roost here as well. Not to be selfish, but that's what we're seeing here with the dehumanization of people that aren't white. You got the ICE cop saying, "Are you Haitian?" while he's drunk with driving his kids around.
We got the DHS tweeting out re-immigration, which is a literal Nazi term that basically means remove all brown and black people.
Yeah, so the alarms are up now for us, but for Gaza, we need to stay on it as much as possible.
And just think that these are children. Looking at these kids, it really hit me hard because they're the same age as my daughter, as my child. And seeing the fact that they're saying things like poor children, the poor people over there. And the parents' response are, you need counseling. Do I need to sign you up for a therapist? What is wrong with you? The fact that it can even be a prank call to care about children shows how deeply sick and twisted the society is. And they have to, you're exactly right. This is where they're trying to take us in the United States right now. it goes all the way back to the very first story that we shared tonight from Peter Thiel, when he was talking about how empathy shouldn't matter and how we shouldn't care about people outside of our own borders, how we shouldn't care about people that aren't like us. It's that level of control that they're aiming for in this country, that they're aiming for with AI, that they're aiming for with Zionist putting their heavy hand on the No Kings March, with Zionists pushing out AI in order to manipulate the public.
They know they need more authoritarian control over us because their messaging doesn't work anymore. And so that's where it all ties into what's happening over there. It is a test bubble for us next. And we're seeing it. You can't be an authoritarian without having somebody to scapegoat. And you got to keep it off, keep the public's eyes off of the billionaires, off the capitalism. It's got to be, no, it's not that. Of course it's not that. The guy that, feeds water to computers and not people, can't be them, It's the brown people. It's the disabled people who are a burden on our Medicare system. It's, why aren't you working 60 hours a week when there's no job for 20 hours a week?
The ruling elite is pretending the ceasefire is real and they want to move on. We can't let that happen. Amen. And Lila, that's what we heard. I heard so many interviews like that yesterday that it made my skin crawl. I heard an interview from a guy. I almost pulled it for the show, but I was like, nah. But it was a guy that said, that's the one thing I'll give Trump his flowers for. He got a ceasefire with Israel.
Come on.
And it's like, no. And it's not only going to be the Republicans that are going to push this. The Democrats are actively pushing this right now, that there's a ceasefire deal when there's not. It's bullshit. Israel struck Gaza within 7 hours of said ceasefire. Before they even had the excuse, they murdered someone who I know, Salih, a reporter who used to come to my Twitter spaces when I was doing them shortly after Oct 7. I was bringing on Gazan journalists. Every single Gazan journalist that I brought on to those panels are now gone, have now been eliminated by the terrorist state. And the Israeli terrorist forces are who train ICE. ICE has a major contract with the ITF. Also, ICE, they train our police forces. Andril, we showed you Palmer Luckey's Andril, the banking system that they want, their new bank that they want to create. Andril, Palmer Luckey's drones were tested in Gaza. Peter Thiel's Palantir was testing out surveillance equipment that and Oracle have literally been sold to ICE. The face scanning software where ICE they hold up their phones to scan people's faces. It was tested out in the West Bank in Gaza.
And all these people and all these billionaires and all these tech bros with their evil programs, they're getting government contracts that are not related to war. They're getting, like I said, they're getting contracts to deny claims for Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
This is it all converges. And that's why it's so important that we keep the fight up on them in Palestine against Israel. But it's a bigger project than that. It's, we're back into the war in Ukraine heavy now, like even though Trump was trying to get us out of it. Why?
Yep.
Because
that's something we didn't even touch on tonight because there's so much to report on that.
Things are just dipping a little bit in Palestine. So we gotta sell those drones and Ukraine is 100% drone warfare. I mean, it's all drones. It's fucking the future it's Terminator shit. So.
And we're going to have to rethink how we organize. We're going to have to rethink how we gather. We're going to have to, people can run independent right now. If you want to run for office, if you're thinking about electoral, we need way beyond electoral. But if that's one of the things you're thinking about, run independent. You can literally sign up, register, run now. You don't need a party. It takes 10 years to build a third party. That's the reality of it. I used to be an executive director of one. We're not going to start a third party overnight. That shit's not going to happen, but you can run independent right now, like Sama Shawant is. You can run independent right now. That's one thing we can do electorally, run locally, run nationally. A lot of local states and municipalities support the state of Israel as well. They don't just get their funding federally. Also, we could do strikes, we could do boycotts. Hell, what, Pat? They boycotted Disney for 3 days, and then Disney backtracked on what they were doing.
Yeah, we have proof that we have power if we use it. We just have to decide and organize to use it.
Yeah, and
you don't
we
have
all
to shut
agree.
down everything, but you can shut down the dock workers. You can shut down UPS. You can. Those things have massive impacts because capitalism depends on your packages and shit being sent to you in 24 hours. And they freak out. Capitalism means every organization on earth has to make more money next year than they did this year, or they're doing bad. So they just scrape and scrape and scrape, and we've had enough. And if you are the people scraping their profits away, they will listen to you.
Yeah, exactly. And don't let them fool us that the rest of the public needs to be convinced, because I feel like that's what the Democratic Party has in their tool chest. That was the whole point of the No Kings rally, is we need to convince the rest of the American public. What, MAGA's like 12% of the country, and the hyper MAGA is like 8% of the country. And I'll say one other thing. What is holding us back are the people that are sitting out on their porches right now, having their margaritas in their 3 or 4 story houses, that are comfortable enough in their bubbles to where they show up at this rally. I'm talking about liberals here, you guys. They show up at this rally with a sign, and then they can go back home and be comfortable enough. They're more embarrassed. And I've said this before, and I heard a friend say it the other day. What they're focused on right now is that they're embarrassed by Trump's rhetoric. They're more worried about being embarrassed about how we appear to the world. They want it hidden. They want this stuff behind curtains so that they don't have to be embarrassed about it. They don't actually give 2 shits about most of us. They don't care. But they're also a minority, a very loud 15% of the public who have control of our media, have control of our networks, and get paid by people like Chorus to go out there and spout a bunch of bullshit to convince us that what we have to do is keep convincing the public because they're not there. Don't believe that. Most people agree with us. Most people are where we are. We got to stop convincing, and it's time to organize.
Yeah, most people don't need convincing. They need a plan. They need a plan. And Strike is here to say strike. That's what she has to offer. But people need a plan, which is why these big rallies, we need a plan. We need some strategy to so many people at that rally, half of them probably were ready for some sort of actionable event. You could have leveraged them into doing something real. It could have changed the future of politics, but that didn't happen. So we have to make it happen some fucking
No call
how.
to action, Pat. No call to action in this damn rally.
No, that's terrorism now, according to Trump.
Yeah, true.
So, anyway, we've had a long show. Zeynab, thank you so much for co-hosting. You're amazing. You're great. Lila loves you. I love you. Everybody.
I'm sorry. Lila is much more of a badass than I am, but I tried to fill those shoes, and I'm so grateful to have been here. And I hope that her flight was awesome. I was so glad she was hanging out with us in the chat. I deeply love you guys, and everyone in the comment section knows that you guys are my peeps too. Thank you for trusting me to invite me to co-host with you.
Of course. Where so your article is going to come out soon on your Substack. Do you have an address for the Substack for people?
Oh yeah, let me pull that up real quick. I'll grab the link. I had it up earlier and I accidentally closed it down. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
I've had 2 beers, you guys, and you know what? I haven't drank in like a year. So I have just a slight buzz going.
There you go. Zeynab After Hours coming up.
I know, right?
Just to set up our one good thing that when we go out, it's going to be the Portland War Zone live feed not live feed, but it was recorded from the Portland War Zone. So we'll have that on our way out here. And our thank you to all the heroes and sheroes supporting the show.
Thank
there
you
we go.
guys.
Zeynab, substack.com/ZeynabDay. So there you go.
And I'll have 2 articles coming out tomorrow. So
awesome. Can't wait for it. Thank you guys. We will see you back in business with Lila on Wednesday and Thursday. Cheers.
Cheers.